medicine for the people that are there. The Shaykh has correct connection to Prophet ﷺ, that connection giving him power to correct the hearts of the listeners. And they may be in the east or in the west, but the Shaykh can reach them through his sohbah. And the Shaykh can reach them by any means, spiritual means that we do not know or we do know. Mostly that we do not know. So this book is the Naqshbandi Sufi tradition guidebook that Maulana wrote. Contains all the practices and traditions of our way, including all the wazaif from Fajr or from Tahajjud time up to Isha time. And all the special days of the year that we have special observations and forms of zikr that our Shaykh have taught us and transmitted to us. So this book, or the short version, which is Naqshbandi Awrad, it's very valuable to have it in your house, even if you don't read it. Mostly we have Maulana's books for decoration. But once in a while, maybe you feel a little sad, or you just happen to be sitting and you just pick one up, and subhanAllah, you will always open to a page that benefits you for that specific problem or specific trouble that you're having. And just try it sometime. If you're feeling depressed or angry or there's a problem in your life, just pick up one of Maulana's books and say Bismillah, randomly pick a page and see what comes. Okay, what came? Let's see. It's too much. This is about a hadith describing. It's very long. We'll start from here. That Imam Shawkani said, rahimahullah, that the Prophet ﷺ justified counting of dhikr on the fingers by the fact that the fingers will be questioned and will speak. That is, they will have a witness to that effect. So it follows that counting tasbih on them because of this is better than using dhikr beads or pebbles. However, two other hadiths, one of Sayyidina Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas radiyallahu anhu wardah, and Sayyida Safiya al-Mu'mineen Safiya bint Huyay radiyallahu anha wa ardaha, indicate the permissibility of counting tasbih with date stones and pebbles and with dhikr beads, because there is no distinguishing factor among them in the Prophet's stipulation to the two women, and no disapproval of it. And as for the directing to what is better, this does not negate permissibility, and there are reports to that effect. So this is how the fuqaha speak, very technical. And even to understand is difficult. But the Shaykh of Tasawwuf will come and break it down. And so where he says it's not prohibited to use date stones or pebbles, but Prophet ﷺ saw them doing this, and he didn't tell them not to do it. That means he's approving of it, not disapproving of it. And in another tradition, it is mentioned that the Prophet ﷺ said, what a good reminder are the dhikr beads. Ni'mal mudhakkira as-sibha. And Shawkani, the one who is also speaking about the preference of using fingers, narrated this hadith from Hazrat Ali ibn Abi Talib as evidence for the usefulness of dhikr beads. And it came from Ad-Daylami's narration in Musnad al-Firdaus with his chain, and even Imam Suyuti cited it in his fatwa on dhikr beads in his Hawil al-Fatawi. So by saying, oh, we have to use our fingers, no, we don't have to use our fingers. Maybe it's preferred in some circumstances. For example, we saw Maulana usually use his fingers for Subhanallah, Alhamdulillah, wa la ilaha illallah. Those 33 Subhanallah, 33 Alhamdulillah, 34 Allahu Akbar. After the prayer, he almost always used his finger. But Sultan al-Awliya Maulana Sheikh Nazim would always use his tasbih. And he would even show us a specific way to use the tasbih. So everything depends on the tajalli of that time and place. And it is related in Hilal al-Hafar's monograph through Mu'tamar ibn Sulaiman from Abu Safiya, the Prophet's Mawla, or freed slave, that a mat would be spread for Abu Safiya, and he had a basket made of palm leaves filled with pebbles. And he would sit with that basket and the pebbles and make dhikr with them all day long, up until noontime. Then the basket would be taken away, and after he finished the Zuhr prayer, it would be brought again, and he would begin to do tasbih up until even, or probably until Asr, even says even. And this is narrated by Imam Ahmad in Kitab al-Zuhd. And I went to Zikr in Austin, and they were doing something similar. They had a big jar full of beans. They poured it all on the cloth, and everyone took a handful and began doing different awrad. And then when they finished everything, they gathered it up, poured it back in the jar. So these are not, as the Wahhabis say, bid'ah. In fact, it's showing that it's the sunnah of the Sahaba to do this, including the Prophet's wife, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, wa radiyallahu anha wa ardaha, Sayyida Safiya bint Huyay. And there are too many narrations to read here, but that's enough. We only need one Sahabi to show us the way. We don't need all of them. Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that the companions are like stars. Whichever one of them you follow, you'll be guided. So if one of them did tasbih on stones, we do tasbih on stones, no problem. If one of them did with a string, like Sayyidina Abu Hurairah with knots in it, why not? If Prophet ﷺ said, Na'am al-mudhakkir as-sibha, what a blessed and beneficial reminder are dhikr beads, then who are we to say, oh, it's bid'ah? And Prophet is saying it's something good. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. May Allah give those people back their minds. As far as the counting of dhikr, another objection, these Wahhabis and Salafis and all these kind of short pants people come and say, oh, why are you counting this many? Who gave you that number? Or why are you making a specific number? Why not? Allah made 7 heavens. He didn't make 6 heavens one day, another day 5 heavens, another day 3. He made 7 heavens. Every set of heavens that He made, and Maulana said He made infinite heavens, not just one set of 7 heavens. So many 7 heavens. But they're always 7. Why Allah emphasized that number 7 if it's not important? It must be important. So the counting of the dhikr is also important. As Prophet ﷺ advised, he advised his wives, radiyallahu anhu, wa Sayyidina Ali radiyallahu anhu wa karramallahu wajha, and Sayyida Fatima radiyallahu anha wardaha wa karramallahu wajha, to count the tasbih, tahmid, and takbir 33 times before going to bed at night. And Prophet ﷺ himself, as related by Ibn Amr radiyallahu anhu, who saw the Prophet count the times he said Subhanallah on his right hand. And that does not mean it is not allowed to use the left also, but as the Prophet ﷺ said, count the dhikr on your fingers. Imam Suyuti related in one of his fatwas the story of Ikrimah, who asked his teacher Umar al-Maliki about dhikr beads. And this is not the Ikrimah that's a companion of the Prophet, but it's another Ikrimah. I don't know who it is. So Umar al-Maliki answered that he had also asked his teacher, who was Hassan al-Basri, one of the Tabi'een, about it, and he was told by him, it is something we have used at the beginning of the way, and we don't like to leave it at the end. I love to remember Allah with my heart, my hand, and my tongue. And Imam Suyuti commented on this tradition in saying, and how should it be otherwise when the dhikr beads remind one of Allah the Exalted? And a person seldom sees dhikr beads in someone's hand except he begins to remember Allah by himself, which is among the greatest of its benefits. Now I will relate to you what Sheikh Omar Abdullah of the Juz al-Qamar, that he related to me from his Sheikh. He said that if anyone carries a subha, even he's not doing a zikr with it, that subha is doing zikr for him all the time that he carries it. And if he goes to sleep with it, it's making tasbih for him all night long. And that's being recorded for him. SubhanAllah. So the awliya, they see and they explain these things from a different perspective. And the foolish claim, as Maulana says, the spurious claim that dhikr beads come from Buddhism or Christianity is not supported by the scholars, but may be simply dismissed as just one more of the scholar Ignaz Goldseher's dubious legacies to Orientalist literature. So I think it's enough. This book is so full of blessings because it explains everything that we do according to the Sunnah. And in contradiction to all what they claim, the Wahhabis, that you can't do this and you can't do that. Yes, you can and you must, and it's benefit and valuable to do them. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المؤمنين ويا فوزا للمستغفرين أستغفر الله. فاتحة. Like Fatiha, they also like to say, don't say Fatiha. Why you say Fatiha? Al-Fatiha lima kuriya lahu. Prophet ﷺ said, the Fatiha is for whatever you recite it. So if you recite it for blessing, you get blessing. If you recite it for rahmah, for forgiveness of the one who died, for blessings in the house, for anything you do, it's completely acceptable. And there's no reason that any part of the Quran cannot be recited for any kind of blessing, because it's Allah's book and it's full of blessing. Alhamdulillah. Allahumma